What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're doing well today. Today, we're taking a look at the Cavol Ripback. Let's get into it. All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to do some size comparisons. We'll weigh out the knife and then we'll jump into my thoughts and impressions. So for point of reference, I like to do these size comparisons. Here is the Spyderco Para 3. As you can see, definitely a full-size knife coming in at 8.7 inches. It's even larger than the Spyderco Shaman. Let's move these two out of the way and bring out just a couple of budget knives for comparison. This one's more medium-sized. Here is the Moriarty. And we'll move the Spyderco Shaman out of the way and bring out the Civivi Vision FG, which I consider to be a full-size knife. So again, 8.7 inches, definitely more full-size. And we're going to do profile comparison. And I like to do this so that you have an idea of like, how's it going to feel in hand? How's it going to feel in the pocket? Is it going to be chunky and noticeable? Is it going to be thin and slicey like an atom? But you can see very comparable to the Vision FG. And then we'll bring the Shaman out here as well, which it should compare with, just slightly chunkier, just slightly. Not by much. All right, let's go ahead and weigh it. This definitely feels like it has some weight to it, and I wouldn't be surprised. Again, an 8.7 ounce inch knife, probably going to come in closer to that 5 to 6, 4.6 ounces, so closer to that 5-ounce weight. Definitely got some girth to it and weight to it, but really not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I certainly and honestly thought it was going to be just a little bit heavier, but 4.6 isn't that bad considering the size of the knife. Let's jump into my thoughts and impressions. I wanted to check this out because I'll be completely honest, this is probably not my normal style. I'm not a big sway back kind of guy, but I like what Cavol does. They do a lot of interesting pieces that are designed and manufactured very well. So first, I like that they did this frag pattern that's all integrated into the handle. I think that's very unique and different. I don't recall ever seeing any knives that do like this type of design here where it's not all the way through the entire knife. They just did it in these smaller sections. And I think it looks really good, especially with that black wash over top of it. And then they have this very seamless clamshell design. It looks really nice and it's very well done. Very well done. I think it looks great. Very cool design. Pocket clip is really cool and it functions very well. I was worried about it being short if it was going to work, but they did a good job keeping it thin and springy, and they gave lots of clearance here so that it goes all the way up to the top point on there. Now, when it is in the pocket, is a little bit that does stick out because it is kind of pointy, but it's really not that bad or that noticeable. Especially because most of the time I'm wearing a shirt that covers up the jeans anyway, so you really don't see too much sticking out there. You do feel the weight in the pocket. I can tell when I'm, in like lighter shorts and stuff like that, carrying it, you can kind of feel it moving, but no more so than in the other knife that weighs this much. Let's talk about the action on here. Really good reverse flick hole. With the thumb hole though, I tend to kind of have to like really remember not to put pressure on that lock bar in order to get it to flick out. And then because of my larger hands, that back of the knife, the spine here, just whacks right into the index finger every time. So this one here I would consider purely a reverse flicking knife. And if you don't really like to reverse flick your knives, if you like this styling, probably not going to be for you. It's not awful. I found like if you kick out, it usually works pretty good. I keep slipping off onto the lock bar, and it's just I can't really thumb flick this one. I wonder if you could slow roll it though. Man, I just I'm trying to go underneath the relief cuts. It's really tough. It to me, it's just a reverse flicker. That seems to be how it works the best. I did forget to mention going in and out of the pocket. It does kind of hit on that relief cut, so it kind of pinches, and you'll feel it like pop out when it comes out. Lock bar access is okay. They did chamfer it down, so it's really tight for me with the larger hands, but if you have slightly smaller fingers and hands, it might be okay. I'm able to push it pretty well because they did a good job at the peak of it making it sharp, so I'm able to get in there a little bit easier than I am just sliding it over. And then picking it up is really easy too because you kind of are digging into that lock bar anyway. So that really works, and I found that the jimping here is really good for that. So if you like to close your knives like that, this is designed really well for you. Compound grind, you have a hollow ground right here, pretty thin and slicey, and then you got a really beefy tip out here, which is good because this one goes way out there, way out onto the tip. So I like that they reinforced it, because I would truthfully be worried about, the tip of this one here being susceptible to breaking and chipping because it goes so far out, but it is pretty thick out there. It is not very comfortable to me because I do not like swaybacks. Truth be told, I actually feel like it would be more comfortable if it was a sway forward, I guess, if that's the opposite of a sway back. But the curve down and everything is very comfortable like this. So if you're reverse gripping it to cut out straps, it's actually more comfortable to me than it is with the sway back here. It isn't that it has any hot spots. It's just the sway backs for me just tend to land in a really bad spot. Like, it's not really anywhere where I can hold it and it worked for me. Like, that's just a personal thing. If you like swaybacks and the way swaybacks looks, and the ergos of a swayback, if you're used to them, it's going to work really well. The other thing I'll mention here too is it's kind of like out in no man's land for me when I'm trying to choke up for like controlled work. It just doesn't work for me for some reason. Again, it is chamfered down. There's no hot spots. Nothing about the knife itself is uncomfortable. Again, it's the ergonomics of a swayback and the position that it puts my hand into. Nothing for me with the larger hands really work, but that's not a knock on the knife. That, again, beating a dead horse here, emphasis on the larger hands. Action on here is really good, nice and smooth. Knife is centered, really good tolerances on this one. I really do like what Cavol does as far as build quality. Now, what was a little bit shocking on here, it is M390 titanium, ceramic bearings in the pivot, titanium clip. I believe it's all titanium hardware as well. Coming in at $330. That is pretty pricey. At that $330 price point, you could go with a Kungwu Padre, which is going to be a little bit nicer ergonomically. It's going to come with Vanex instead of M390, in case that's interesting. And then I feel like the Padre has enough flair to it to be a design element that I think would be compelling, and they're coming in at $299. So you're getting them for a little bit more than $30 less than the Cavol. I really do like this comparison. Multi-row bearings, you got a nice big belly knife, and again, ergonomically, Padre is definitely one of the top ergonomic knives in my collection. Another one that you can look at for the same price point is going to be the Quiet Carry Drift L. If you don't like something that has flair to it, this would be a very neutral design. It's going to be very thin, very slicey. This one here is more a performer. It is on washers, so mine still needs to be broken in. When I get it to that sweet spot, I can flick it open just fine. I can't get it to fall shut, and I think that just because I need to get it broken in. I've put some thread locker on here, but the pivot kept wanting to back out. And as you can see, it's not at that point where it's broken in just yet. It's really close at this point here. It's getting close, but again, with this one here, you're getting Vanex, all titanium. The lock bar insert is even made out of Vanex. So this one here is a highly corrosive resistant knife, very thin, lighter weight carry than the other two that I've shown you. And just lastly, again, for something that has a little bit of flair, these Orpheus integral titanium knives are $370 starting price. So this one a little bit higher, but you're getting an integral built knife. And the aluminum dark matter carbon fiber inlay, I think is what it's called. That one's starting in at $369. So $39 more, you're getting an integral 20 CV, something a little bit nicer ergonomically, and you're getting an integral for not that much more than the Cavol. So just some other alternatives that work a little bit better for me personally from an ergonomic perspective. But I do like what Cavol does. I think it is very interesting that you're getting this clamshell design, which could justify spending $30 more than the Padre, or being the same price as the super clean Vanex steel from Quiet Carry and the Drift Large, but you're getting the knurling on the Drift, which I think also, when you talk about some of the stuff here as far as what you're getting on these knives, you're getting a little bit more than just 2 slabs of titanium thrown onto the knife. Again, very interesting, and I do like that a lot. And Cavol has some other knives that you can check out, but Cavol's designs are a little bit more, have a little bit more flair than what you normally see on some of these other knives. But I'm curious, what do you think about the Ripback from Cavol? Do you like this one? I think they have 2 options. I think one of them, they somehow managed to kind of bronze the titanium here. So I think they maybe like bronzed it and then went back over and sanded everything else down with that. I don't know how they did it, but it looks really cool. I definitely recommend going by the site and checking it out. Shout out to everyone out there that leaves the likes, the comments, and is subscribed. I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a fantastic week. Until next time.